step into the chilling depths of history as we uncover the eerie story of a Soviet division lost in the icy wilderness of Finland. Imagine this, it's 1939, tension fills the air, and an air of mystery surrounds the impending disaster. Unaware of the mysterious and deadly enemy lurking in the snow-covered trees, what unfolded during those fateful days would become a haunting puzzle that fascinated historians, conspiracy theorists, and anyone intrigued by the unexplainable. Before delving into this perplexing massacre that set the stage for the tumultuous relationship between the Soviet Union and its northern neighbor, let's explore the origins of discord between the two. Origins of discord: Soviet Union vs. Finland. The tensions between the Soviet Union and Finland had been simmering ever since the tumultuous aftermath of the Russian Revolution in 1917. As the Soviet Union solidified its power, it cast its greedy gaze upon the territories of the former Russian Empire. Driven by the passion to expand and propagate communist ideology, Soviet leaders were firm in their determination to reclaim what they thought was rightfully theirs. Meanwhile, Finland, newly independent and fiercely protective of its sovereignty, found itself caught in the geopolitical crossfire. At the heart of the conflict lay territorial disputes, particularly concerning Finland's eastern border. Joseph Stalin, at the helm of the Soviet Union, harbored ambitions of regaining control over the Karelian Isthmus, a region strategically positioned near the major Soviet city of Leningrad. Stalin believed that securing this area would strengthen the country's defenses in the expectation of potential future conflicts. However, Finland remained steadfast in its commitment to autonomy and self-governance, strongly opposing any invasion on its territory. The Winter War begins. By November 1939, the growing tensions erupted into open hostility. Under Stalin's leadership, the Soviet Union issued an ultimatum to Finland: give up the territory voluntarily or face the consequences. Finland's steadfast refusal was met with a full-scale invasion by the Soviet Red Army, igniting what would become known as the Winter War. The conflict erupted on November 30th, 1939, following a minor bombing incident near Manila. The Soviet Union quickly blamed Finland for provoking them and used it as an excuse to invade Finland. The world quickly criticized this one-sided aggressive action, thinking it was unfair and unnecessary. Even though Finland was up against tough odds, it decided to protect its independence against the powerful Soviet attack, relying on its strength and cleverness to deal with big challenges in numbers and organization. Despite tough challenges, Finland came together under General Mannerheim's leadership, showing incredible bravery and ability to adjust to the situation. Even though they were greatly outnumbered, Finnish soldiers used their deep understanding of the land to use guerrilla tactics and smart moves, stopping the Soviet forces from making progress. The building of the Mannerheim Line showed Finland's strong determination to protect their country, proving their commitment in a clear and visible way. The brutal winter conditions further favored Finland, with temperatures plummeting to bone-chilling lows of -40 degrees Celsius. These extreme weather conditions posed significant challenges for the Soviet troops, who struggled to navigate Finland's rugged terrain and endure its unforgiving climate. The Soviet Union encountered additional obstacles due to the loss of experienced leaders prior to the conflict, which hampered their effectiveness on the battlefield. This, coupled with the fierce resistance of the Finnish defenders, increased the difficulties faced by the Soviet forces. Despite the hardships endured by Finland, the international community rallied to their support, offering crucial assistance in the form of weapons and ammunition. Countries like France, the UK, and the US stood with Finland, understanding its situation and giving crucial help to strengthen its defense. They were united by a strong bond and a desire to help a country in trouble. But it was the significant amount of weapons from allied nations that really helped Finland keep fighting against the Soviet attack. The aftermath of the Winter War. After 105 tough days of continuous fighting, the Winter War ended with the signing of the Moscow Peace Treaty on March 12, 1940. Finland had to give up some land to the Soviet Union, including the important Karelian Isthmus. But the Finnish people's strong spirit wasn't broken. Even though they lost land, Finland kept its independence, showing their resilience, bravery, and determination to never give up. The Winter War is a significant part of history, leaving a lasting mark on both Finland and the Soviet Union. It changed how they saw war and their national identities. During the conflict, Finland's people united under the concept of Sisu, which means unmatched courage and resilience in tough times. Throughout the war, the Finnish people showed incredible strength, demonstrating the unbeatable spirit of a nation fighting to protect its independence, even when the odds were against them. Conversely, the Winter War presented intimidating challenges for the Soviet Union, laying bare deficiencies within its military apparatus. Ill-equipped to adapt with Finland's harsh winter conditions and rugged terrain, Soviet troops found themselves at a distinct disadvantage. Moreover, the loss of hardworking and experienced commanders prior to the conflict compounded their difficulties, increasing the obstacles encountered on the battlefield. After the war, the Soviet Union realized the need to upgrade its armed forces, initiating extensive reforms to make them more effective and prepared for future battles, especially with World War II on the horizon. Despite its relatively brief duration, the Winter War yielded invaluable insights for nations across the globe, prompting a reassessment of military beliefs and supporting greater cooperation among allies. This transformative episode showcased the strength necessary to bounce back in times of adversity and highlighted the significance of international unity in confronting shared challenges. However, amid the clash of arms, a tragedy unfolded in the middle of the serene expanse of the Finnish wilderness, an enigma veiled within ancient pines and ethereal shadows. Here, an unconventional conflict unfolded, a battle of the supernatural that left soldiers haunted, minds fractured, and myriad questions unanswered. The unseen enemy, a supernatural adversary. Amidst the chilling backdrop of the Winter War, a formidable contingent of Soviet soldiers converged near the border of Finland, spurred by the clear objective of taking control of strategic territories and suppressing Finnish resistance. Yet, they hugely underestimated the unforgiving realities of Finland's winter terrain and the dense, ominous forests that awaited them. Being used to the rigors of conventional warfare and hardened by past battles, the Soviet troops unfortunately found themselves unprepared for the daunting environment that lay ahead. As they erected their encampments amidst the ancient trees that seemed to stand guard, they were confronted by an adversary they had not expected, an unseen force, seemingly woven from the very fabric of the forest itself. Soft whispers, carrying a dark warning, echoed through the thick trees, while shadows moved with unsettling purpose. The once familiar landscape now appeared to warp and twist before their eyes, with trees assuming eerie, shifting forms and arranging themselves in labyrinthine patterns, perplexing their senses and unsettling their spirits. A night of horror, the supernatural assault. The Finnish forest revealed itself as a bewildering labyrinth of tangled undergrowth, concealed pathways, and deceptive clearings, leaving the Soviet soldiers disoriented and exposed. Their meticulously drawn maps proved useless as the forest seemed to conspire against them, leading them astray and plunging them into a disorienting maze of uncertainty. This was initially dismissed by the commanding officers, as they thought that their soldiers were just tired and scared. However, the soldiers' growing anxiety soon spread like wildfire through the ranks, fueling a palpable sense of dread. Accounts began to surface of unnerving phenomena experienced by the troops, unnatural laughter echoing through the twisted branches, taunting their vulnerability, and unsettling whispers carried on the frigid wind, stoking the fires of paranoia. Each rustle of leaves and creak of branches seemed to bear witness to their fears, amplifying their sense of vulnerability and heightening their vigilance. The forest, in its silent malevolence, seemed to listen, absorbing their mounting terror with a predatory hunger. In the face of this mysterious opponent, the soldiers grappled with a fear that gnawed at the edges of their sanity. Shadows mixed to form sinister phantoms, setting nerves on edge and triggering skittish reflexes. Elusive sleep offered little respite, plagued by visions of unspeakable horrors lurking within the shadows of the forest's enigmatic depths. Each passing moment seemed to deepen the veil of mystery surrounding the forest, leaving the soldiers ensnared in a chilling dance with forces beyond their comprehension. In the heart of the forest, an eerie tension hung heavy in the air, as if the very essence of the land had absorbed the looming threat of war. In the dead of night, unsettling sounds echoed through the trees, sending shivers down the spines of those brave enough to listen. Suddenly, the calm and quiet shattered like fragile glass. Shadows took on sinister forms, moving with a swiftness that defied natural laws. Soldiers found themselves under attack by an unseen enemy, feeling the sting of invisible blows that left deep, phantom-like lacerations. The violence was swift, unyielding, and utterly confusing. These Soviet troops found themselves completely untrained for this kind of attack, almost a supernatural onslaught. Their rifles were useless against an enemy that defied all logic, a foe they couldn't see or comprehend. In this psychological battleground, fear and superstition held the upper hand, leaving their tactics useless against the mysterious forces of the forest. The woods became a nightmarish trap, trapping them in a web of fear and uncertainty. Terrible screams pierced the darkness, echoing the wrath of the cold, unforgiving woods that seemed to have turned against them. Despite their efforts to fight back, their struggles were futile. The darkness was impenetrable, the forest too dense to discern friend from foe. They were engulfed in a storm of fear and confusion, their usual methods of combat rendered utterly ineffective. In the face of this supernatural onslaught, they stood helpless, caught in a battle they couldn't comprehend. For the soldiers thrust into this surreal battleground, the ordeal unfolded like a waking nightmare. The constant feeling of being watched, of being hunted by unseen foes, eroded their sanity, leaving them tormented by visions of horror and desperation. Each account varies, offering fragmented glimpses of the chaos that ensued. Some speak of a sudden eruption of violence, while others recall the chilling disappearance of comrades without a trace. Yet, amidst the confusion and uncertainty, one grim truth remains: the aftermath revealed a harrowing scene of devastation and loss beyond comprehension. The once orderly encampment lay in ruins, a haunting painting of destruction where tents lay torn apart and personal belongings scattered amidst the wreckage. The air was thick with the acrid scent of blood, a grim reminder of the violence that had unfolded. Survivors emerged from the chaos, bearing wounds that did not have any rational explanation. Invisible blades seemed to have sliced through flesh and bone, leaving jagged gashes that marred once whole bodies. Amidst the carnage, fallen comrades lay strewn across the forest floor, some grievously wounded, others eerily untouched yet robbed of life. The inexplicable tragedy left all who bore witness bewildered, grappling with the unfathomable loss of so many lives in such a bizarre and sorrowful manner. As they struggled to make sense of the chaos, one haunting question lingered in their minds: what unseen force had wrought such devastation upon them? Speculations and theories. In the aftermath of the harrowing night, speculation ran rampant as to the cause of the Soviet soldiers' demise. Initially, some thought that Finnish forces had launched a secret assault, employing their renowned expertise in guerrilla warfare to devastating effect. However, the nature of the wounds sustained by the Soviet troops could not explain this theory, lacking the characteristic defensive injuries one would expect from a pitched battle. Moreover, there was no evidence indicating a large-scale attack. There were no footprints of an army moving through the forests. The Finnish soldiers could have not moved through the forest and then the camp without leaving a trace. Another theory that many relate with is that the Finnish fighters could have orchestrated a psychological attack aimed at spreading paralyzing fear among the Soviet ranks. The Finnish knew their forest and wilderness better than anyone. They could use the forest to their advantage. This notion suggests that they could have used various unsettling tactics, like strange sounds in the woods or spreading stories about scary spirits hiding in the shadows. These methods could have been strategically employed to sow chaos and panic among their enemies, exploiting their vulnerabilities and disorienting them in the middle of the dense wilderness. However, even though this idea is interesting, there isn't solid proof to support it yet. Guess this means that historians and researchers will keep discussing and speculating about it. Despite exhaustive investigations and speculations, the truth behind the night's events remains clouded in uncertainty and speculation. Despite the Soviet Army's attempts to uncover more details through inquiries, they encountered obstacles. One major challenge was that the soldiers who were present and still alive were too frightened to speak much. What they had endured was so traumatic that they struggled to speak about it clearly. The Finnish people denied any involvement, suggesting that perhaps the Soviet soldiers became overwhelmed due to being in unfamiliar surroundings and the harsh conditions. This idea makes sense considering how tough the Winter War was, especially with the harsh weather and the worry about hidden enemies. But even with this explanation, it's hard to understand why there were so many casualties or why there was such a big fight. As survivors emerged from the trauma of that harrowing night, their words stumbled in the attempt to capture the essence of what they endured. It was as though they were trying to understand something mysterious, but they couldn't quite grasp it. They felt confused and scared. They remembered eerie sounds that came from the darkness itself, soft whispers that wrapped around them like mist, and sudden screams that broke the silence of the night. The air hung heavy and suffocating, thick with a palpable sense of fear that wrapped its icy fingers around their hearts, rendering even the simplest movement a Herculean task. In the flickering dance of the campfire's light, they glimpsed fleeting shapes, forms that moved with an otherworldly grace, too fluid and swift to belong to any earthly creature. But each account carried with it the weight of a primal terror, as if an unseen malevolence loomed just beyond the edge of perception, pressing down upon them with an unbearable weight. The events of that fateful night, where Soviet soldiers stumbled upon inexplicable horrors amidst the Finnish woods, remain a haunting enigma from the annals of the Winter War of 1939. Like wisps of fog dissipating in the morning sun, clear narratives and records elude us, leaving only speculation and guesses in their wake. With no clear answers, people came up with all sorts of wild theories, like mushrooms popping up after rain. These theories created complex webs of speculation that became more confusing and tangled over time. What began as a mere tragedy evolved into a riddle that nibbled at the collective consciousness, begging to be solved. With each step forward, we tread cautiously through the undergrowth of uncertainty, mindful of the unseen perils that lurk in the shadows. What unseen force had gripped those soldiers in its icy embrace? Why did reason falter amidst the towering trees? Stories spread quietly, like whispers on the wind-tails of old spirits woken by the chaos of human battles, protectors of the wild angered by the intrusion of war. Soldiers spoke of shadowy figures that prowled among the trees, their eyes gleaming like coals in the darkness, leaving us to wonder at the mysteries that lie hidden within the heart of the forest. In the heart of the forest, whispers of old stories moved through the trees, creating a web of legends that blurred the line between truth and myth. Soldiers discovered ancient altars, their worn stones carved with symbols from a distant era, when gods mingled with humans and magic was part of everyday life. Some speculated that the very soil beneath their feet contained ancient toxins, woken up from their slumber by the disturbance of the battle, their harmful influence seeping into the minds of those who dared to walk upon their sacred ground. In the heat of battle, fueled by the primal urge to survive, soldiers fought fiercely, their desperation lending them a savage strength. Adrenaline surged through their veins, sharpening their senses. Faint whispers, like wisps of smoke, hinted at a sinister force lurking in the shadows of darkness that clouded minds and whispered madness to those who dared to heed it. Gripped by terror, soldiers found themselves locked in a battle not only against their enemies, but against the unseen demons that haunted their every step. Some suggested that the tragedy stemmed from a collective breakdown, a descent into madness fueled by the constant pressures of war. Cut off from the comforting environment of civilization that they were used, and surrounded by the eerie silence of the forest, soldiers found themselves standing on the edge of sanity, their minds consumed by paranoia and fear. As the cold fingers of night tightened their grip, reality became a hazy mirage, distorted by the ever-present threat of death that lurked just beyond the trees. Sparked by rumors of mysterious Finnish strategies and pushed to their limits by the ceaseless stress of combat, they descended into a whirlwind of panic and disarray, acting on instinct rather than logic. While this theory may capture the imagination, it remains just that, a theory. The truth of the Finnish forest massacre remains obscured by mystery, its secrets hidden beneath layers of speculation and guesswork. Classified documents provide enticing glimpses into the events of that pivotal night and the true challenges soldiers encountered. However, crucial details are hidden by censorship, forcing historians to reconstruct the puzzle from fragmented accounts and unreliable testimonies. Discrepancies between eyewitness reports and official records only serve to deepen the enigma, casting doubt upon the very nature of reality itself. Investigations and obstructions. As historians dig into the records, they encounter a maze of hidden passages and secrets, their search for answers blocked by shadows lurking in the pages. Important details disappear under layers of black ink, leaving gaps like the dark forest itself. It's like the forest's spirit has entered the archives, hiding the truth and making that night's events a mystery wrapped in intrigue. The confusion did not end with the official documents. Some details in the personal accounts of the soldiers who survived this ordeal also greatly contradicted with what was mentioned in the official documents. It seemed like there was no way to know what to trust and how to figure out the truth behind the mysterious events that unfolded that night. Survivors spoke of chilling encounters with mystical figures, of whispers that slithered through the night like serpents, and of sudden, inexplicable assaults that left them trembling in fear. Their voices trembled with the weight of their memories, each word a testament to the horrors they had witnessed. As they looked at the official records for answers, they found a polished version of events that lacked the raw emotion and vivid details from first-hand accounts. Important details were hidden under layers of black ink, making it hard to find the truth and leaving historians lost in uncertainty. The mystery deepened with the limited information from Russian military records, offering just a glimpse into the incident before going quiet. References to losses and unexpected events suggested something serious happened, but didn't explain much, leaving historians searching for answers in bits of information. The fact that there's no mention of fighting enemy forces in the official records makes the Finnish forest massacre even more mysterious. It raises questions about whether the official story is true and sparks lots of speculation. Some propose that the Soviet authorities deliberately withheld the truth to maintain morale among the ranks and uphold the illusion of military invincibility, a calculated decision to shield the populace from the harsh realities of war. World War II was on the horizon, and they did not want the soldiers to be scared or have the collective morale crushed. Some viewed it as a sign of the chaos and confusion that comes with war, where it's easy for important events to get lost in the confusion and go unnoticed. The glaring omission of such a pivotal event from the history of Russian military history led to a sea of speculations, each more interesting than the last. Many viewed it as a glaring blemish on the reputation of the army, a stain of embarrassment that the higher officers of command sought to scrub from the records. Under Stalin's iron-fisted rule, the spread of information was tightly controlled, with only narratives that aligned with the government's agenda given a platform, while other opinions were swiftly brushed under the rug or twisted to fit the prescribed narrative. Even though the Finnish Forest massacre was shrouded in secrecy, its frightening impact lasted, leaving a permanent scar on history. Like a ghost, it lingered in people's minds, with unanswered questions and hidden truths echoing through time. Though hidden by censorship, the truth of that night remained, showing how memories and the desire for understanding never fade. It's also possible that the tight grip of control extended beyond the confines of official documents to encompass the very voices of the survivors themselves. Under the weight of authoritarian rule and the looming threat of reprisal, those who emerged from the depths of the forest may have found themselves coerced into silence or compelled to shape their narratives to align with the sanctioned version of events. The lingering trauma of the massacre, coupled with the ever-present fear of consequences, likely served as a powerful deterrent against speaking out candidly. Instead, many may have opted to present sanitized accounts, carefully curated to avoid drawing unwanted attention or stirring up further trouble. As the echoes of conflict gradually faded into the distance, a shroud of enigma descended upon the forest, cloaking its ancient pines in whispers of untold secrets. For the soldiers who emerged from that nightmarish ordeal, it marked not an end, but the beginning of a new chapter, a life overshadowed by the specter of what they had endured. The memories of that fateful night would linger like ghosts in the corridors of their minds, haunting their every waking moment and casting a pall over their future endeavors. In the silence that followed, the forest stood as a silent witness to their suffering, its ancient boughs bearing witness to the untold horrors that had unfolded beneath their canopy. Survivors, haunting testimonies, physical wounds, painful and visible, told of the battle's brutality, leaving scars that bore witness to their suffering. But it was the unseen scars, etched deep in their minds, that proved the most haunting. Tormented by war's ghosts, they found themselves trapped in a psychological nightmare. In the darkness, phantom laughter and shadowy figures haunted their thoughts, turning sleep into a battleground where nightmares replayed past horrors, leaving them gasping for relief from their own fears. Returning to a world that seemed oblivious to their suffering, the soldiers grappled with the overwhelming task of navigating a reality that could not comprehend the depths of their anguish. Families, their faces etched with concern and confusion, struggled to grasp the incomprehensible. How could they begin to fathom the unseen adversary that had left their loved ones shattered and broken? In the aftermath of the tragedy, the survivors retreated into the solitary confines of their own minds, their pain veiled behind stoic facades that belied the turmoil raging within. Yet, amidst the silence of the Finnish forest, the voices of those who bore witness to the horrors of war echoed through the corridors of time, their chilling accounts serving as a testament to the enduring legacy of a conflict that had plunged them into the depths of the unknown. Sergeant Ivan Petrov, a sturdy presence among his fellow soldiers, carried the weight of numerous battles with quiet strength. Yet, as he ventured into the forest's depths, a realm cloaked in mystery and shadow, his steadfast demeanor began to crumble like ancient ruins worn by time. In his chilling testimony, Petrov recounted an unsettling encounter with forces beyond comprehension. Whispers, eerie and otherworldly, drifted through the dense foliage, their source elusive yet undeniably sinister. It felt as though the air itself had taken on a malevolent presence, speaking in tongues foreign to mortal ears but laden with an unmistakable sense of malice. As Petrov delved deeper into the labyrinthine forest, he found himself entangled in a surreal dance with the unknown. The landscape seemed to shift and twist before his eyes, trees swaying with a life of their own, creating intricate patterns that defied logic. Lost amidst this bewildering maze, Petrov wandered aimlessly for hours, each step leading him in circles as he struggled to regain his bearings. Time lost its meaning as Petrov retraced his path, the lines between reality and illusion blurring with each passing moment. Despite his efforts, he found himself inevitably drawn back to the same eerie spot, ensnared in a nightmarish loop with no apparent escape. In the forest's oppressive embrace, Petrov's resolve faltered, his once unyielding spirit now consumed by a primal fear that gnawed at his very core. Private Olga Kuznetsova, a novice soldier thrust into the unknown depths, confronted the eerie manifestations lurking within the forest's shadowed recesses. Despite her inexperience, her determination drove her to prove herself amidst the whispered superstitions that enveloped the ancient woodland. As Kuznetsova delved deeper into the forest's enigmatic labyrinth, she bore witness to a chilling spectacle defying rational explanation. Shadowy figures, eyes glowing like smoldering embers in the swirling mist, emerged from the undergrowth. Were they guardians of the forest or something more sinister? The question lingered in Kuznetsova's mind, echoing through the silence of the night. Initially dismissive of the tale she'd heard, Kuznetsova approached with youthful bravado, convinced superstition held no power over her. Yet, as spectral apparitions materialized, her skepticism crumbled like dry leaves. In her harrowing account, she described their haunting movements, flickering like ethereal flames. A chilling confrontation ensued when her gaze met one of these beings, sending a frigid chill through her, as if death itself had reached for her soul. Kuznetsova shuddered at the thought of those piercing eyes, realizing the forest hid ancient, evil secrets she couldn't even imagine. Even in the darkness, the memory of those eyes stayed with her, a warning of the dangers lurking nearby. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Mikhail Volkov, once strong, started to lose his mind. In the thick trees, strange and scary shapes tormented him, moving in ways that scared him even more. As he lost his grip on reality, fear took over, making him feel helpless against the growing darkness. Corporal Anna Sokolova, honored for her compassion and empathy, fulfilled her duty as a medic amidst the chaos of war. Carefully, she tended to the wounded, witnessing the brutality of conflict etched upon their souls. The forest, a silent witness to their suffering, harbored the visceral remnants of war's agony. Sokolova's testimonies echoed the inexplicable injuries she encountered among the fallen, their flesh marred by unseen blades. Captain Nikolai Ivanov, famous for his logical thinking and practical mindset, carefully wrote down his journey into darkness. His journal showed how he battled with hallucinations and fear, each word showing how his mind was breaking down. In his writing, he talked about hearing strange laughter in the forest, even in the darkest parts of the night. Captain Nikolai Ivanov, the symbol of leadership in a chaotic situation, was the highest-ranking survivor of a mysterious event. His serious account suggested something deep and mysterious, a border between what's real and what's not. To Ivanov, this border was more than just a physical line, it was where everything fell apart. He couldn't forget what happened to those who crossed it, changed forever by things humans can't understand. Ivanov's words hung in the air, making us question reality and think about what's out there beyond our understanding. Legacy of the Finnish Forest Massacre. As we step back from the haunting embrace of the Finnish forest, its ancient guardians continue to share their age-old stories, weaving a tapestry of mystery and sorrow. The tragic saga of the Soviet division in 1939 lingers, like a ghostly presence, etched into history's pages and leaving deep wounds on both the land and the human spirit. Once a footnote in the grand narrative of World War II, the Winter War now emerges as a poignant chapter demanding reflection and understanding from those who study its significance. Was it merely a clash over territory, or did it reveal profound truths about conflict and human resilience? Its echoes resonate through the halls of power, shaping alliances and reshaping global dynamics. The soldiers who made it home carried with them burdens heavier than their packs. Their minds, scarred by the unknown, were haunted by memories of the forest's eerie grip. Families struggled to grasp the unseen enemy that had gripped their loved ones, wrestling with the unfathomable terror lurking within the shadows. The forest, silent but watchful, holds its secrets close. Accounts of witnesses blend with speculation and folklore, creating a complex tapestry of theories and conjecture. Some mysteries defy explanation. Were the apparitions supernatural beings, products of shared fear, or the result of hidden chemicals? The forest's silence offers no answers, leaving us to confront the unsettling truth that some truths may forever remain beyond our reach. As we emerge from the forest's depths, we carry with us the weight of the unknown, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that linger in history's darkest corners. The Finnish forest stands as a solemn reminder of the interplay between tragedy and truth, where shadows dance among the ancient trees and whispers of the past echo through time.